Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Latinaly podcast. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be sitting down and recording again. I feel like it's been 1,000 years and it just feels really good. And I've been going through a lot of internal reflection lately since, quitting my job, and I haven't really been, well, that's a lie. I've still been keeping myself very busy, been doing a lot of things, focusing on a lot of things. But what I think I've been doing the most is putting purposefulness and intentionality behind a lot of the things that I've been doing. And I've been really compartmentalizing my day of what I'm going to focus on that day, what I'm going to pour my energy into, what I'm going to pour my focus into. And I know I talked about this in my episode where I discussed quitting my job, where I saw this video and it was like, sorry, babe, a lot of things are going to change for you. You have to go through some more shit in order for you to enter this next phase of your life. And I'm like, yo, not only is it like the environmental changes, the, external changes, it's the internal changes as well. There's so many self-reflecting moments that I'm having lately, and it's changing me. And it's things that I need to happen. And I'm not being resistant to these changes. And one of the biggest things is killing my ego. Having an ego can ruin your life. And I don't mean in a catastrophic, cataclysmic sort of way. I just mean I didn't realize it, honestly, until I opted in to quit Paramount. I didn't realize that I had an ego that big. I didn't realize the prominence of my ego in my day-to-day interactions, in my day-to-day presentation of myself, until I chose to opt in for the severance package for Paramount. It's been a huge part of my ego. Since quitting, I've noticed how my job has almost disguised itself as self-worth. And it's always been this huge chip on my shoulder. It's a very impressive chip, and I didn't realize how much I wore it on my shoulder. Having my work broadcasted on TV, winning awards, and, being flown out to LA, and all of these super dream. I mean, I have my dream job, and now I don't. And, achieving all these accolades. And when I quit, it was almost like all that was taken away from me. But that's impossible. I felt that all of it was being taken away from me, and I was kind of just like, what is this? What is this that I'm feeling? I'm feeling defeat. I'm feeling all these things, but it's almost like as I was sitting there, I was like, your ego is being crushed. Your ego, you're not right now, because you don't have a job yet. You're not working towards any more accolades or being on TV or getting flown out. You don't have the job. You don't have the position to be able to contribute to those wonderful incentivized opportunities anymore. But that doesn't mean that my work is not there. That doesn't mean I didn't do it. But all of that oddly birthed this notoriety in me that was fueling my ego. And I was like, ew, yuck. Your ego will have you wondering, why do I keep getting the shit end of the stick? And it's because, baby girl, the end of the stick was already covered in shit, and it's your ego. And these past few weeks have very much humbled me, and it's given me a really big reality check. It's given me this gigantic mirror of who I want to be, and I don't want to be a bitch with an ego. There's a quote from the philosopher Epictetus, and he says, "It is impossible to learn that which one thinks one already knows." Killing your ego is a metaphorical phrase for diminishing the sense of self-importance to become more humble, less defensive, and more open to growth, because I don't want to be a person that's not learning anymore. And I don't want to be the person who feels like she's the smartest person in the room. No, I don't want to feel dumbed down. But at the same time, I am smart enough to know that I'm not always going to be the smartest person in the room. There's always going to be somebody smarter. There's always going to be someone who's a better teacher, and someone who's done more than me, and someone who is more than me. And letting my ego stop me from taking the wonderful opportunity to get to learn from other people, I want to be in those rooms. I want to sit at those tables, and I want to be someone who is always getting better and learning and thriving and growing. When you have your ego and you wear it as a chip on your shoulder, it does more harm than it does good. Your ego doesn't wake up and go, "Hey, I'm going to sabotage you today." Your ego is there for protection. Your ego is there to make sure that you are safe. But that's not the truth. And I think that when we let our ego speak for us, there's a bit of a humanity that we lose when we do that. It makes us a little bit unapproachable. It makes us hard to talk to. It makes us hard to learn from. It makes us hard to teach to. It's almost like this gigantic blocker that everyone that interacts with you is going to face. And don't get me wrong, sometimes your ego is great to have and it works for you. Your ego is sharp. It is motivated. She is confident. And I think it's important to learn when to turn it off and to turn it back on. Because at some point, your ego is going to stop protecting you and it's going to start limiting you. Your ego is too proud to ask for help. And I know that I'm killing mine because I asked people for help. This is a day and age where word of mouth goes a really long way. This is the day and age of networking and rubbing elbows and making sure that people know you and that they just see your heart and see who you are, and I don't like asking anyone for help. That's not really I don't think that's an ego thing. I just think it's a thing. I don't like asking anybody for help, but specifically when it comes to my career, yes, it's an ego thing. I don't like asking anybody. It's a really nice chip that you wear. I keep saying chip because it just fucking sits here. It sits on your shoulder and it doesn't move. It's like I like being like, yeah, I got this all by myself, and like after a while, like that's not a flex. Like, don't get me wrong, being self-made and doing everything yourself, that's really cool, and like it's something to be really proud of. But at a certain point, it's just like, if you have an opportunity to work smarter and not harder and still be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve, why not? Why not? Like, it's like, I forgot who said it. A man had $100. He gave it to somebody else. He said, if I told you, hey, listen, I have $100 for you, here you go, would you take it? And the guy was like, no. And the man with the $100 was like, why wouldn't you take a free $100? And the guy was like, because I like to make the $100 on my own. And the guy with the money was like, that's really commendable and that's great, but it's also really stupid. I'm giving you $100. I'm giving you $100. No strings attached, just a gift from me to you. But your ego won't let you take it. So not only is it stupid, but now you also don't have $100. And he was like, I'm a millionaire because someone gave me $100 to start something and I took it. I took the opportunity that somebody gave to me and I ran with it. And so it's okay to accept help from people. It's okay to ask for help from people. Your ego makes you too defensive to learn. It makes you too scared to start over. Your ego makes you feel like humility is a weakness. It's not. Because in your humility, you find a really wholesome humbleness that just sets you free. It sets you free, and ego is like, you want to protect, like my ego, like if I was building my ego up rather than killing it, my ego would have been like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm okay, like cool, like fuck them, blah, blah, blah. But that's not how I feel at all. It's almost putting a mask over how I actually feel and disguising my humility as this pompous confidence that I really don't have in that situation. And it's just, honestly, just sets you back. I've also learned that not killing your ego and actually like trying to build up your ego, it makes you chase image and it makes you chase external validation. And that's never going to be me. But the problem is that I was starting to, and I recognized that. And I was like, ew, that's not me. That's not me, nor will it ever be me. I realized I don't want validation from anybody. What I want is alignment. That's what I want. I want to be aligned and I want to be confident in me because of me. I don't want to be confident and sure because of the validation of like other people. And I think that in killing your ego and having that humility allows you to really center yourself and focus on yourself because you're not worried about impressing anybody anymore. And that's what I kind of felt like I was fucking doing. I was like, why do I feel like I need to impress everybody? The fuck? I need to impress me. I need to feel good about me. I don't need everybody else to feel good about me. I want to feel good about me. The first moment that I realized I was killing my ego was when I took that opt-in. It was a moment that I said, okay, I'm going to leave my really, really impressive job. I'm going to leave because I'm going to choose my kids. And that in and of itself, taking that control, humbling myself to understand that there are more important things to me than these really, impressive accolades. My kids are more important. Being there for my kids is more important. Pouring into me is more important. And when you have your ego, it forces you to stay in rooms that you outgrow. And you only stay in them because you believe that the moment that you leave those rooms, your image is tarnished or bruised. That's not the case at all. And also too, in the field that I'm in, I think in any field, when you have an ego, you can't take feedback. You can't take criticism. It's like, I'd rather be the best than be imperfect and get better. And that's not a way to live. That is putting a pressure on yourself that is really, really debilitating, to be honest, in my opinion. That being seen means I'm significant. When in fact, it is so, oh my God, it is so not true. Because you're significant in every part of your life. You don't have to be impressive to be significant. You don't have to be a people pleaser. You don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't have to be everything for everyone all at once to be significant. All you have to do is be you and be true to who you are and do things that make yourself happy. That is what makes you significant. Being a good person makes you significant. Being a kind person makes you significant. Not your image or your awards or whatever the fuck else you have going on. Those are not things that make you significant. People don't love you for your accolades. They love you for your heart. Your ego will put you in rooms with people that do not align with you. It'll put you in situations that you normally would run from. And in your heart, you have to run from them, but your ego forces you to stay put. Your ego says, no, this is right. This is for our image. Like, this is what we got to do. And like, it goes against your grain, honestly. Your ego will have you go against your own grain. You doing things that go against the essence of who you are, it'll always make you feel like, how did I end up here? How did I get this shit end of the stick? Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel so numb, so empty, so unfulfilled? And that's because your ego is speaking for you rather than your spirit speaking for you, rather than your brain, rather than your heart. And it's because you've been fighting to keep this shield of your ego rather than fighting for the things that actually matter to you. And when you accept the humility and the humbleness, it is, not gonna lie, that shit feels a little bruising. It does. It's not something, killing your ego isn't something where you're like, I'm free, I feel amazing. No, bitch. No. People don't tell you how hard it is to go from, being flown out and getting your dinners paid for and you got awards and you're being celebrated and you're meeting all these wonderful people. You're on the red carpet, you're doing your thing, you're interviewing, you're seeing like, people don't tell you how difficult it is to go from that to then starting over. The truth is, I love the mundane every day of my life. But for other people, that could be really hard. That's a really hard transition, because you love doing those things. Shit, I love getting flown out. I love getting my meals and my cars paid for. Hell yeah. Who doesn't? Yeah, it's fucking hard. It's hard, and it's so funny because I think about that one episode where I think about Bad as a Mother, where I talk about having it all. And the thing is, like, I do have it all. And that's the gag. That's the gag. And that's where your ego will make you feel like you don't have it all, which is fucking crazy. It sounds counterintuitive, right? But just hear me, because your ego will force you to strive for the shininess of your image. It'll force you to stay in a place that makes you look really, really, really good, but doesn't align with you. It forces you to feel like if I drop this, I have nothing. When in fact, letting go of your ego, letting go of my ego, allowed me to be like, bitch, I still won those awards. Those didn't go away. My name on TV didn't go away. My work on the web didn't go away. Shit, I got things still launching. I ain't even there. My career isn't over. That's just one chapter of it. I do have it all because my next position, my next role is going to be better, pay me more, and I'm still going to have my kids because I'm going to find a company that aligns with me so one-to-one that I'm going to be honestly on my hands and knees thanking God because I'm still going to have it all. I still have it all, even though I don't have this job at BET anymore. Like, I still have my babies. I still have my marriage. I still have my career. My career is fucking over. I'm not retiring. I'm not changing careers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so your ego will almost make you feel like you're not enough and you got to do more to be even more impressive, to present like you're more of the shit than you really need to be because you already are. And so when you kill that, there's almost like this softness that you feel, that I feel, honestly, you know, because it's like I do have it all still. You know, I just don't have that element of it anymore, but I still have it all. It's this softness and realizing it is what it is. Like, you don't have to wear all of these shiny things in order to be impressive or wonderful. You don't have to be this fucking superstar that everybody knows with all this fancy shit and all this, like, I'm the best and I'm better than everyone. You don't need that shit. Because to be honest, no one wants to be around someone like that. I don't. And the moment that I felt that I was becoming that person, I'm going to kill it. And the Lord knew that I needed this. The Lord knew that I had to be humbled, truly, in this way. Because there's so much that I have in store for me. I'm a queen of manifesting. My friend is with the love of her life because we manifested that shit. Okay? And actually, a coworker of mine got her dream job because we manifested that shit. And so I manifest for me that this humility had to happen in order for me to enter this next phase of life. Because there's so much more that I have to learn. So much more that I have to achieve, and I cannot do it with a chip on my shoulder. There is so much more that I have to heal from for my kids. There is so much more that I have to teach. There is so much more that I have to give, so much that I have to unlearn and learn again. And I cannot do that with an ego. I cannot go through a true evolution, or I cannot go through a true reinvention if I have my ego covering me like a wax shell. I cannot do that. All it's going to do is set me back, and it's going to limit me. And having an ego is such an icky feeling sometimes. Because for me, it almost makes me feel unrecognizable, to be honest with you. And the thing is that killing your ego it's not a one-time thing. Just like anything that we talk about on my show, it is a habit practice. It is a change. It is quiet work. It is quiet work that you do with yourself. It is self-talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you know, when you're in the middle of an argument, if you're not so angry and you're able to catch it, you're like, okay, back up. Do I need to win? Is this a matter of winning, or is it a matter of understanding each other? Okay, I was wrong. I'm wrong. Killing your ego is also taking accountability for your actions. It's letting people who do not know you misjudge you, rather than you feeling the need to tell your side of the story, rather than your need to defend yourself. You know exactly who you are. You don't need the external validation of someone saying, okay, now I like you, in order for you to feel good about yourself. Choosing to listen rather than proving someone wrong. And it's the understanding that sometimes you need to start over in life, rather than letting your pride and ego make you feel like you're already there when you know damn well you're not. Killing your ego means letting your identity be flexible. It means not letting your identity be rooted in titles or accolades, external validation, or being right or being better than everybody else. It's not about being loud, you know? It's not about showing everybody what you could do, who you could beat. No. You already know who you are. You know everything. You know yourself. You know that you're good enough. And those that don't know just have to catch up, honestly. It's not your job to make sure that everybody in the world knows that you're great and wonderful. And it's not killing yourself to make sure that everybody knows that. I feel like having an ego means that you take everything personal. I feel like when you have your ego at the forefront of your personality, it almost feels like everyone's out to get you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're really not that important. You're not. Not everyone's out to. And so when you kill that, you get a wildly new perspective on life. You start to see, you start to understand, you start to transform without even realizing it, When you pull away from your ego and you start to remove that part of yourself, because truly it's not serving anybody. It's not serving them. It's not serving you. So when you start to remove that element of yourself, you begin to attract more. You begin to notice that everything starts to fall into place. You begin to notice that when you start accepting humbleness and humility, that everything starts to fall into alignment, because that's how you're moving. You're moving in purposefulness, with intention. And it's almost as though like all the cards are falling into place, because you don't have anything to prove to anybody but yourself. You work for yourself. You're not competing with anybody else. You're competing with yourself. You're pouring into yourself. You're not working hard to make sure that everybody loves it and knows it and celebrates you and all that. No, you're doing it for you. You attract more peace, more opportunity, more softness, abundance. And because you've killed your ego, you've gone through this revelation or this new learning, this new perspective on how to now accept all these wonderful things in your life and not wear them as a chip on your shoulder. Because as fast as you got it is as fast as it could leave you. And it allows you to move through change a little bit better. It allows you to move through change with a little more ease. And it doesn't feel like starting over is your whole world being ripped out from underneath you, or your entire world falling off of its axis. It makes you feel prepared, because it's like your ego is preventing change. It prevents evolution. It prevents reinvention. Your ego just wants you to climb and go up with no obstacle, with no change. But growth and learning and loving, it's not linear. It's not a straight shoot. It's not always going to be smooth. It's not always going to be without obstacle, without struggle, without setback, without failure. It's not going to be those things. And when you wear your ego, you're not able to actually go through the growth that you have to go through, because your ego makes you feel like you cannot fail. Your ego makes you feel like a setback is a failure, that taking 2 steps back means that it's over, But when you kill that, you're able to move into these new phases of your life with confidence, real confidence, with a readiness and excitement. And that is honestly how I'm feeling. I don't want to be a bitch with an ego. I think it's so icky to me to have an ego that stops you from growing, that stops you from making friends, or just stops opportunities, stops you from learning, stops you from inventing, stops your creativity. I don't want that. I've been doing it every day, little by little. And I definitely feel the changes, and now I'm ready to see them. And that is all for today's episode. If you cannot get enough of me, the same way I cannot get enough of you, make sure to follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Latinaly Podcast, and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, where you can watch this episode. And if you want to be on the next Sign Kaya, go ahead and head over to ngl.link/Latinaly Podcast, where you can ask me anything anonymously. Or you can go into kayaburgos.com/ask, and you can ask anything that you want there. You can kind of do it anonymously there too, but you can put your name if you want. And be sure to also check out our merch while you're over there. I'm your host, Kaya Burgos, and this is the Latinaly Podcast, where we are untamed, uncensored, and always unapologetic. And I'll see you next week.